Hello everyone and welcome to Yarnscrossing. My name is Biene and today I'm going to show you what I've been crocheting and knitting in the month of March, so stay tuned. Let's get started. My first project I want to show you today is a Raglan top-down, so a top-down pullover, and I crocheted it with the wool Lamia bamboo. We have here the color gray, but later I want to add brown and also some white stripes, and it will be a pullover for my partner. So I made this pullover based on a tutorial by Kathrinchen Kirschblüte. The tutorial is called Pullover Rosenrot häkeln. As always, you can find everything in the description box below. I've modified the tutorial from here a little bit. We start here with the collar, and for the number of stitches you have to make sure that the number is divided by 3. For me it's 120 stitches, so we have 40 here in front and 40 here at the back and 20 on each side, plus 4 stitches for these stitches at the corners. These are the so-called Raglan stitches. Here we increase stitches in each round. So I cast on a hole of 124 stitches at the beginning. And from above it almost looks like a granny square, but it doesn't always stay like that. First of all, we increase round by round until the whole thing grows over the shoulders and until this armhole can be gathered under the armpit. And I've now crocheted the second ball Lamia bamboo here, so the balls are crocheted so quickly. Let's see how many I will need for the whole pullover. I crocheted the whole thing with a 2.5mm crochet hook, so we have a lot to do with the needle size. What I find very unfortunate about the yarn is that some of it unravels and splits when I work with it. That means I had problems getting all the threads through the stitches. So it is a bit annoying and challenging in some places. If the stitch pattern and texture weren't so beautiful, I wouldn't have continued with it. But it feels so soft and silky, almost cool and smooth. So I think Lamia bamboo is a great yarn type, but the processing is really exhausting. So just to let you know if you're planning to get the yarn too. I simply work round after round with double crochet here, and the collar consists of 6 rows of double crochet, and I folded them in half and crocheted them together at the bottom, and then I started to grow the pullover. I can really recommend the Raglan or top-down pullover project to anyone who wants to see quick results. I hadn't really had any experience with pullover design before, but the principle is so simple and it's really easy to adapt. If you do the whole thing with a larger yarn, you will of course see results much faster, because Lamia bamboo is a yarn weight 3, so just go for it and try it out. Then let's go to the next project, and the Raglan fever has really taken hold of me. I have started another Raglan project, but this time not a pullover, this time it will be a poncho, and I'm still at the beginning, and here the armholes are not joined under the armpits. You can just crochet it round by round, and I would say up to the bottom. Either you leave it completely open or you join the corners later so that you have an orientation for the arms and hands. I really like this color choice. This is the yarn Wolleule from Butinette, and it is made of 100% cotton, and I find these shades of blue with the gradient to turquoise and green so beautiful. I'm thrilled by the color combination. But the yarn is unfortunately also a bit challenging. It consists of single threads that are only slightly twisted, so it's sometimes difficult to get all the threads through the stitches. And what drove me crazy was the combination of this yarn and the crochet hook from Prim. This combination didn't work at all. I crocheted the whole thing with a 3.5mm needle, but I really had to change the needle while crocheting. Wolleule is 100% cotton, and when I worked this yarn with the Prim crochet hook, I had such a squeaky, scratchy, pulling feeling on the hook. It drove me crazy. I've never had that before, and then I switched to my 3.5mm crochet hook from Loopscarf, and that worked much better. I'm so excited to see what the final result will look like, and if you want to have a tutorial, please write it in the comments. I'll be happy to add it to the list of ideas. There will be some new tutorials coming up in the near future. My new project is a knitted piece. I started with this great and fluffy loop scarf and I called it Foaming Sea. This wavy pattern just reminded me of the sea with the splashing and these great blue and green tones. The whole thing can be knitted very nicely, and I used the yarn Lorena Color from Ice Yarns for it. We have the colored gradient yarn here, which is responsible for the play of colors. And in addition, so combination with it, a subscriber gave me the tip to use Garzato Comfort as a supplementary yarn. So thanks to Ozzy for the tip, it works perfectly. The result looks fantastic and I like it so much. The only thing that is a bit challenging is that Lorena Color is relatively stable. But Garzato Comfort has elastane in the yarn, so we have some stretch, and that means that when you take these two yarns together, Lorena Color curls a little bit. You just have to pay a little attention to that when you're working with it, but the result is just great. I worked the whole thing in knit to purl too, so it's super simple, and I used a 4.5mm needle from Prim Knit Pro. This is a circular knitting needle that you can screw onto the different length of rope. The rope length here is 80 centimeters. For me, the size fits great over my head. I knitted it quite tightly so that it sits well around the neck and it can be stretched a little. And I think also because of Garzato Comfort, it pulls together really nicely. It all has its advantages. And I'm planning to knit the whole thing up like a tube and then fold it over and take it double. It's still relatively cold here in the morning and I'm glad to have something warm around my neck when I go for my morning walk with our dog. I can't remember the number of measures now or stitches I cast it on, but it's important that it's a multiple of 4. We have the constant repetition knit 2 and purl 2, and if you then combine them into a round, it has to be dividable by 4. Just measure around the head at nose level and then you know how long you have to cast on stitches. Then I tried my hand at a triangular shawl, which is my own creation, and that's why it's still a bit wobbly at the side, but I'm just trying it out, and of course it's not finished yet, not washed or blocked. So for this shawl I used Rockabilly in light orange and salmon from Ice Yarns. And I already liked the color combination when I ordered it, and I really wanted to make something out of it. And I just decided on a shawl. I had already exchanged ideas with you in the comments, so thank you for that. And I wanted to have a permanent change, but without having to sew many threads in later. And that's why both threads are let up the side. And it's only increasing on the other side. And the pattern consists mainly of single crochet through the back loop, and in between there are these pike stitches at irregular intervals, or just windows, how I call them. With the threads on the side we do it like this. We take both of them parallel to the top and then drop one thread. In this case it was now light orange, and then I crocheted on with the other thread. One row there and one row back, and when I get back to this side I take both threads again to go up. And that was the idea I had. It's super nice to work with and super easy, and the yarn is really great. But it's a bit silky and slippery, so it sometimes slips off the crochet hook, so you'll have to feel your way around. Maybe use different types of crochet hook, just give it a try. The yarn also gets a slight fluff when you work it, so it's really nice and I totally like it. I think the shine is super nice as well. And when the triangular shawl is finished, it lies around like this. So you have this pattern lying diagonally, and I think that's really nice. And I crocheted the whole thing with a 4.5mm crochet hook. With this size you get a very nice stitch pattern. Maybe there will be a tutorial soon. That's enough about clothing and garments for now, so let's move on to the blanket corner. Last time I started with the Gingam C2C blanket, and it has grown a little bit. You can find the tutorial on Krista's channel, The Secret Yarnery. And here you can see the different colors. So, last time I was at this third square in the bottom row, and now I'm in the second row at the fourth square with the combination of light blue and gold, or it's a mustardy yellow. And I also wanted to show you this overview. This was also a tip in the tutorial, so you can simply see at which square you are currently at, so that you don't lose the overview. With the C2C squares, the squares are crocheted here one by one, starting at the bottom, then you go wider row by row, and then you decrease again, and each square is crocheted to the ceiling while you crochet, so join as you go. So the project grows quite fast, and I worked with Savor from Ice Yarns double-stranded, which makes the blanket really nice and squishy, and you can see the process very quickly. So this was the Gingam C2C blanket. And here again, an old acquaintance. We will see this one a few more times, I think. We also have a C2C blanket here, but in a rib pattern. So it is stitched through the back loop like my triangular shawl. So the blanket is still halved, and this is where I was at the last time. I'm at the 5th ball now, and it has grown quite a bit. I'm going to show you a quick picture here, and this is how it looks at the moment. I ordered some more yarn from Lady D's Traumgarne, and I crocheted the whole with Hochbauschladie from Lady D's Traumgarne, which are 100 gram balls each. And the 5th ball isn't enough for me, so I will add a 6th ball to make it wider. I crocheted the whole thing with a 4.5mm needle. It is a really great and mindless project for the evening. So that was the update for the C2C blanket. And here we have the latest whip. It is also a C2C pattern, and I have no idea yet what it will be exactly. I'm wavering between a tablecloth for the garden table or a bathroom rug, because it has a really nice firm texture. And the whole thing is made of spaghetti yarn macrame cake by Hobium. And I ordered some of it because I already had a ball here, and I liked the color so much that I had to have some other ones too. So I also worked with this C2C pattern, and you can really do a lot with it. And I like the look of this yarn so much because the texture comes out perfectly with this yarn. It is a recycled yarn, which is not really cheap, and I think one of them cost about €6. And for this piece, I want to use 3 of them. I'll show you briefly here how far I've got. In the meantime, I'm already in the decrease. And I crocheted the whole thing with a 3.5mm needle. What I have to say, the yarn is strong and tough, and it pulls the metal needle out of the handle when I crochet. That means I'm constantly pushing back the needle into the handle. But I like the look so much. I will definitely upload a C2C tutorial on my channel, so you can really do so many great things with it. That was the C2C Sunrise, and therefore the last whip for this month. And I think we move on to the finished objects now. Then let's have a look at a kind of FO. It's a new square from the Secret SecretstichesCAL, so the crochet along from the Secret Yarnery. And this is the third square and it's called Candy Cradle Square. And I used Softly Baby from Ice Yarns. I'm doing the project in 3 different colors, so this one, the purple, and then the other ones in mint green and baby blue. And from these single squares, I will crochet a blanket at the end of the year. I crocheted the square with a 5mm crochet hook, and Softly Baby is really a great yarn. Very soft and pleasant to work with, and these pastel shades are really my thing anyway. And then comes a FO. I'm really happy that it's finished. It's the Erigeneia Shawl and it's finally finished. It's spring and I can finally wear it. I'm so happy. I crocheted this triangular shawl from the Zimtstern Bobble by Lady D's Traumgarne. It was 250 gram and I used a 4.5mm needle for it. So you can get the pattern for free on Ravelry, and let me show you where I was last time. There we have the marker, and I still had to crochet the end of the section, and then I crocheted this repeat 2 more times. There was still a little bit left of the yarn, but I didn't want to have more of the muddy tone around it. That would have been too dark for me. And I also left out the last round. That would have been another border, and I wouldn't have known if there was enough of yarn for that either. Let me show you a quick picture. This is what the triangular shawl looks like now, and I love the color gradient. We have the light cream here in the middle, and then the beautiful transition to the sand tone and the beautiful mud tone at the very end. And what I find so interesting is the gold thread that runs through the whole shawl. It looks stunning. The pattern is very flexible, and I haven't washed or blocked the shawl yet. That will come, and I'm so happy with this result. I'm really looking forward to wearing the shawl for the first time. If you have problems with the crochet description, just have a look at the Secret Yarnery. There is a step-by-step tutorial and Krista explains everything very clearly. The link is in the description box below. And this was the Erigeneia Shawl. And last but not least, I have a little something for you. Take a look. I've been really busy the last few days and I've been crocheting the Jessie stash basket. I already had a ball of spaghetti yarn XX lace at home from a friend, and I had also ordered some in the last Hobium yarn order, and I made this great basket out of it. And look at how stable this thing is. I'm totally thrilled. And also these handles, just great. It's so perfect for throwing whips in it with the whole yarn stuff and needles. You can find the tutorial on Tony's channel, the TL Yarncrafts, and she makes such great stuff, I tell you. Make sure to check it out. And now I also have one of these great Jessie stash baskets. I crocheted the whole thing with a 9mm needle, but I have to tell you, the yarn is so tough and tight and really made my muscles ache. So I didn't get much done in one day. The muscles really had to recover, not only in the fingers but also on the shoulder blade. So it was exhausting, but it was so worth it. I'm really happy. I used almost 3 balls of yarn, but I also made the basket a little bigger than the tutorial. I think 1 or 2 rounds. So the basket weighs about 700 grams now, and I really recommend this project to everyone. It's very easy to follow and I love it. As always, you can find all the links below in the description box. These were the projects from the month of March. Sorry it took so long, I was sick, so please forgive me. I'm super happy with the projects and I'm already looking forward to the projects of April. Just comment down below. I'm always happy to receive tips and suggestions, and I'm always curious to see what projects you have in the pipeline. And apart from that, I would say keep your yarns crossing and have fun with your projects.